Welcome to week 13 of the NFL season. This is our bets show where we go through, give you our top three bets, including our locks of the week. We're coming off of a 9-3 record on for week 12 and 4-0 on the locks. Doesn't get much better than that. One of our probably our second best hit of the year besides that almost undefeated week. But we'll get right into it. We're down the home stretch of the season.
Flying by. Flying by.
Yep. Was last week was Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Time is like getting away from me. But yeah, it was a profitable DFS week, profitable bets week, and now we're on to week 13. Who wants to start us off with their first pick?
I will I'll jump in here first since you guys all literally have the same game. Which I'll be the outlier here. So I am going to be taking the Detroit Lions on the road against PB Saints at -4.5. The Lions obviously coming off a terrible loss at home to the Green Bay Packers. They looked flat. Their defense did not look great. Their offense was, Jared Goff looked like an old Jared Goff that we hadn't seen in a while. But in terms of these two teams, obviously the Lions are a much, much better team than the Saints. The Saints have been pretty much average or below average this entire year. Obviously their defense is the better part of that team, but I think the Lions offense is much greater than this defense. Plus the Lions are so obviously they're fighting for playoff spots. They got to keep up with, the Eagles and the 49ers and the Cowboys as well. So they obviously they have the division locked up. So, but it's now more about, okay, how much can we get home field advantage? Is it possible? So they're going to be, going week in and week out, just absolutely, going balls to the wall. So I just like the Lions here. They're 15-5 ATS in the last 20 games. Just been absolute, ATS wagon. And the Saints, on the other hand, are not the greatest team against the spread. 1-5 in the last 6, 0-6 in the last 6 home games. And yeah, they just have not played well at all. Their offense is struggling. You got Jameis Winston singing ludicrous to Derek Carr on the sideline. Don't know
what he's doing.
It's just that the Saints team is just a train wreck, and they might miss the playoffs the way they're playing. So,
not making it right now. That's for sure.
This almost made 4.5.
This almost made my ticket. I liked a couple games more, but Detroit's a perfect 3-0 as away favorites, and I think the matchup where Detroit has a very good run defense, and let's be honest, the Saints are still relying on Taysom Hill to move the football in a pretty consistent manner. I just don't think that's going to fly with Dan Campbell and that defense. So I think it's a terrible matchup for the Saints. And Lions are really good covering as home road favorites. So
we'll get to my lock of the week when we get there.
Okay.
All right. I'll start with, I guess, my first pick, which is Carolina +5.5. But they've been awful. Like we've seen it. Their coach got fired, and
finally,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how well they do without Reich. But I don't think they're going to be a good team without Reich. But the thing is, they're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are also a very bad football team, and first, we've seen it time and time again where these coaches they get fired, players kind of rally together, they play a little bit looser, which I think they'll do here, and then they either, come out with a win or, keep it close, cover the spread. So I see that happening. You see a little bit of a connection developing between Bryce Young and Jonathan Mingo. I think, we'll get to our DFS episode, but I'm liking Mingo to score a touchdown in this game. And then another reason is I've been fading, these bad teams that have been, these heavier favorites. I did it with the Commanders. I did it with the Packers when they were favorites. I think the Jets one week. And those have been some of the most profitable weeks. When you have bad teams that are favored against, these other kind of bad teams, you should just take the points in that case. And I just can't imagine this game playing out like hundreds of times, like just simulating this game hundreds of times, and the Buccaneers beat the Panthers by almost a touchdown half the time. Like I just cannot see that happening. So got to take the points with the Panthers, the value this week.
Yeah, I like the points too. I think neither of these teams are very reliable or trustworthy enough for me to bet with them, regardless of who they're playing. They're just all over the place, not consistent, or really strong quality football teams, if we're being honest. So I like the points here. I think, I liked what you were saying around, the coaches, no coach and rallying the troops kind of in that situation. So I like, maybe Bryce Young to have a breakout game. But I think, Baker has put up some 30+ point weeks with that offense. Mike Evans is debatably having one of the best seasons of his career. And, I think that all leads pretty well to an over. And a pretty
so you mean the over and not take the points of the Panthers?
Yes, I'm taking the points for this game at over 37, which I think is a little bit low.
You were agreeing with me, so I was like confused because you said I agree, but we're on two different bets there.
Sorry. Yeah, I like the over in this game. That's what I meant for the points. So I don't know. I don't trust either of them enough to bet either side, but I do like a resurgence in offense here.
Yeah, I'm on this game too, taking the Panthers plus 5.5. This is my I don't make the rules bet of the week. Every bettor that is worth their salt knows that a team coming off of a coach's firing is worth a little bit of a sprinkle. There's just a rally cry around the locker room. Like PB said, guys play a little bit looser. They're feeling a little bit freed up from maybe a head coach that wasn't doing them justice. And, do I want the Panthers to win? No, right? This is the Bears' #1 overall pick. Do I think they win? Probably not. But like PB said, I don't think the Bucs should be favored by more than a field goal against pretty much anyone in the entire league. So my I don't make the rules bet of the week is Panthers plus 5.5.
The Panthers have to be the right side. There's no way you can lay points with the Bucs.
No.
Do you guys know the Panthers are not eliminated from the playoffs yet? Because
Yeah, I
how
saw
the
that.
division
I
is.
saw
It's because of
that.
the division.
It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's the worst division in football.
It's terrible.
1 in 10, and they can still make the playoffs. That's
So funny.
That is unbelievable. That is something else. And I mean, Bryce Young might just be like, you know what? I'm just not going to play football anymore for you guys because the owner came out and said, yeah, we were actually going to take CJ Stroud. So I don't think, that owner's a complete idiot. But
He kind of walked back on it, Tepper.
Yeah, he had to. He was like,
I'm still confident in the pick.
yeah.
And he's like
wait
side-eyeing
still.
everyone. He's like, did
Yeah.
they buy it?
Yeah, way to instill that confidence in your future quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I guess
All
I'll quickly
Yeah,
just say
go into
what
it.
my second pick is because it's crazy. We were all over this Panthers Bucs game, but just with Nick, I'm taking the Panthers Bucs over 37 points.
Oh, you're gonna
Just like
tell
I-
me?
No, I think you're tailing me. You saw me type that bet in, and then I see you put it as your first one.
Sounds like you're telling me. I don't know.
Sounds like you do this every week. But anyway, I just think the coaches kind of let this game play out with the Panthers. They're just gonna, like I said, they're gonna play a little bit looser. I've been targeting overs against the Buccaneers when they're in these low total games against bad teams because Vegas is like, oh, the public, they're gonna see the Panthers Bucs playing each other, divisional game. They're gonna, it's gonna be like an under 40 total, which it is. It's 37. But what we've seen is, the Bucs, Baker's throwing the ball most of the game. Like that's their offense. It's, passing the ball. Evans, Godwin, Palmer, even Rachaad White is involved in the passing game a ton. Then on the Panthers side, whoever's playing the Bucks, the Bucks have a pass funnel defense, so you always see these more pass friendly game scripts, which leads to more points typically. Whereas when teams are running the ball game, it speeds up, and usually it doesn't score as many points. So for that reason, I'm on the over, and of course the Panthers side.
All right. Well, I'll lead us into our next round of games, which everyone just seems to be on the same thing this entire week. Literally, we were talking about 3 different games. Oh no, 4.
Yeah,
no, 3 different games.
Hey, hive mind's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've been
when it comes to bets.
we've been hitting here. So obviously we all like this. So it's either gonna be a really good week or it's gonna be a really bad week. But moving on to the next game here for my second pick, I'm taking the Miami Dolphins versus the Commanders under that 50, the 50 number. It's some other places it's 49, so making sure that you shop around and you get it at the highest amount if you're taking the under here. Yeah, I just think obviously the Miami Dolphins are a powerhouse when it comes to their offense. I think they can easily score 30 points in this game. Now, the Commanders on the other side is that's where I'm thinking this game goes under, and I don't think that they can keep up and score as many points. Obviously, the Dolphins defense has gotten better. They lost Phillips last week on the defensive end, which obviously hurts to some component of the under, just because the Washington Commanders have a terrible offensive line. But I really don't think it's going to matter that much. I don't see them getting to that 20-point mark, which I think that's what they need to get to, and I just don't see a way. I think Sam Howell, yes, he throws the ball a lot, but I think he's gonna be a lot of turnovers, a lot of sacks, and a lot of punts from the Washington side. So, plus, I haven't given a meaningless stat yet, and this one just screams under. The total in the Miami Dolphins versus NFC East teams has gone under 14 out of the last 17 games they've played. So, I mean, that's a huge margin there. A lot of data we can take from. So give me the Miami Dolphins and the Commies under the 50 mark.
What would we do without our data analyst?
Corey, I'm loving that you set up. You just you threw the ball up for an alley-oop for me because this is my back the numbers bet of the week.
All
right.
Let's
hear it. All right. Here's some numbers for you. So only 10 games this year have closed with a total of 50 or more. Unders are 8-2 in those games, and the under is 26-12 over the last 2 seasons in games with a total of 50 or higher. In games with a total of 45 or higher, after both teams go over their total in the previous week, the under hits at 58%.
Okay.
And here's the final stat where I'm backing the numbers, taking the under. I've mentioned it in episodes past, and PB misinterpreted it as like the most amazing bet hit of all time, but it's still very good. Both teams off of extended rest. The under is 104, 47-1, hitting at a 69% clip. So, I don't think the Commanders are going to be able to keep up with the Dolphins, and I think the Dolphins just control the ball and utilize their run game quite a bit in the second half and just slow it down, and don't see them getting to 50 here. Give me the under.
Yeah, as long as they don't score 70 points, we should be okay.
True.
I mean, that's the underlying factor here. The last little stat, I just came across this one as well. The Washington Commanders, 12 out of the last 18 games played on Sunday have gone under. So that's another really good one right there too. So moving on.
Yeah, I mean, I like this game too, but I'm going to take Miami in a blowout, -9.5. I think they just simply cannot keep up. Washington's actually kind of bad at home. They only average 18 points a game, which is a couple less than their average, but I just don't even see them putting up that much. Miami's defense is coming into form with Jalen Ramsey. He's going to take McLaurin and Dodson out. pretty religiously, and Brian Robinson's okay, but I like Miami's run defense too. So I just don't think they keep up, and they're 8-1 as favorites this year. So I'm just going to keep riding the Dolphin train.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that goes to our locks of the week. I'll start us off here with the Saints plus 4.5. So, this is where the first disagreement is between us. And the Lions have just looked awful these last 2 weeks. Goff has looked kind of like the Jared. He's just one of the. He goes on these hot streaks and he goes on these awful cold streaks. Historically, we've known, this dates back to previous seasons. He's played worse on the road. Playing in New Orleans is not easy. And, the defense is we still have a top 5 pass defense in the league. So, like we haven't allowed a single quarterback to throw for more than 270 yards. I think the average yardage against us is like under 200. So it's just going to be, I know they're probably, yeah.
What, I'm just curious. This is not like what quarterbacks have the Saints played that's been notable this year?
Backups, bottom tier.
But is Jared Goff an elite quarterback?
No.
I mean, I think he plays at an elite level sometimes.
But is he an elite quarterback?
I mean, I would say he's probably a top 10 quarterback.
So, I mean, he played Trevor Lawrence. He played C.J. Stroud. Played Baker, who slings it all game. Like, I mean.
So you're saying Baker's an elite quarterback?
No. I'm just talking about quarterbacks.
I know you admitted it.
I'm just saying. I'm going through quarterbacks.
I'll make sure to clip that for you, Nick.
Thank you.
I'm going through the schedule. He's played the Panthers. Obviously, like anyone in our division is not going to be great. Jordan Love, Patriots. But yes, we held Stroud to guy that's been throwing it. We held him under 200 yards. Held your boy Minshew.
Okay, all right. Here's the thing: you hit Trevor Lawrence like when he was not playing well. He picked it up the past couple weeks.
I mean,
CJ Stroud hadn't broke. That was 5. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks ago. Stroud broke out maybe 4 weeks ago. Okay, so he had big games before that Saints game. So that because I was saying he hadn't thrown an interception yet. He was already playing well, and I said he's gonna throw his first interception. He did, and he didn't look as good. But anyway, the Saints have had a top 5 defense. It's just the stats are the stats against quarterbacks. Obviously, I think the Lions are gonna lean heavily on the run here, which is kind of. In the past, it's been the reverse. You attack the Saints through the air. You can't really run on them, but now you can run on them a little bit more. So and I just think the game's going to be slowed down. We don't know like Rashid Shaheed's probably out. We don't know if Olave is going to play, but even if Olave, Thomas, and Shaheed were out, I would take the same exact spread with the 4.5. He lost to Josh Dobbs and Desmond Ridder.
Okay. Again, we're playing Jared Goff, who has looked absolutely awful these last 2 weeks. Now he's going into New Orleans to play, and we're still competing to win the division. I won't be surprised if we win this game, but we're going to keep this within a field goal. Saints will cover this spread.
Your wins are laughable. I would love to see like your combined record against. Colts, Bears.
Again,
Panthers,
I have not bet on the Saints. Every single week we go on here. How many times have we taken the Saints? I'm confident enough this week that I'm taking them for my lock of the week. Haven't taken them pretty much all year. I'm very confident that they cover 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, I think if you just have no weapon, I just don't know how you guys are going to score points.
It's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix of using Kamara in the passing game, Taysom Hill, and then
why do you say it like that?
What?
Taysom.
And then our defense for one, like that's going to be a big factor. And then
didn't you lose Lattimore for the year?
Johnson are going to have to step up.
Yeah, isn't Lattimore gone too?
You're throwing Hail Marys out here, dude.
I think Lattimore might be out too, but Adebo's
he is out.
Your
best player.
Adebo's played very well all year.
All right, let's move it
He's
on.
played better than Lattimore.
Let's talk about good football teams. I'm going to say my lock of the week is the 49ers minus 2.5. Okay. I just want to name a few things for you right here. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. Do you know what all these QBs have in common?
What's that?
They're sitting behind Brock the Rock Purdy in QBR percentage. If this guy was a number one pick, we would be putting him in a pedestal with like all the greats in the league. He's the next, like Mahomes, like everyone would be going crazy. Nobody wants to give him any credit because
Really, nobody wants to give him credit.
I mean, I'm giving him credit.
All
every
I
week.
hear is people giving Brock Purdy credit.
That's
the only thing I hear.
I was buying Brock Purdy rookie cards all off season because I knew this guy was going to break out.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
that one we gave-
don't sit here
that
and
one we
act
gave
like
away
no one is
probably got
on
some
Brock
good
Purdy.
value.
Everybody is on Brock Purdy.
Yeah, shout out to the 12-year-old from the Fantasy Football Expo that just got at least $500 card.
Shout outs.
Oh, that is right. We did.
Yeah.
I got the shirt on it.
So yeah, there you go. We gave away a free Brock Purdy rookie card.
We did. That
he's
probably
been
is
playing
worth
great.
a lot more now.
I mean, you can't argue with the stats, PB. Philly's not very good against the pass, are they? So I think the way you beat Philly is you beat them in the trenches, specifically picking apart their offensive line and slowing down that offense. And I think the 49ers are one of the few teams in the NFL that have the opportunity to do that consistently on every play. Lane Johnson is looking pretty old. I think he's going to have a tough time with
He's
Chase
questionable
Young and Nick
too.
Bosa. Yeah, like I think they're going to exploit that matchup. Obviously, their offensive line is amazing, so you gotta take the win where you can. So I think they're going to have a hard time setting the edge on the right side of that line. That's going to infect their run game, and I know they lost Hufanga on the defensive side for San Francisco, who kind of helps the passing game. But it's a safety at the end of the day. Like that's not going to make or break a game. They still have Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, who are incredible football players. So I think Philly's got a really tough matchup this week, and like in the 49ers.
Nick,
I agree with you.
the whole argument. Well, you
Go ahead.
There's a big thing that.
No, go ahead.
I feel like.
What am I missing?
I feel like Alex will bring it up because like your argument for them is like, the 49ers should never be favored against the Eagles, like on a neutral field and they're in Philly. There's a much better argument to be had to why the 49ers are probably going to win this game. And I don't think it's what you laid out.
I'm glad you think there's more reasons.
Well, let's see if I can, because 49ers minus 2.5 is also my juggernaut big cojones lock of the week. We've got two juggernauts facing off, two Super Bowl hopefuls. And, you mentioned Lane Johnson. He's questionable. Without him, they are 14-23 straight up. So huge part of that. You see it on the other side with the 49ers when Trent Williams goes down. They look completely different on offense. So I think that's got a big piece to play in here. The 49ers are number 2 overall in DVOA, while the Eagles are 9th. The 49ers also attack the middle of the field, which is where the Eagles are the absolute weakest, right? They invested heavily in their D-line. They invested in their secondary. It's been pretty hit or miss this year, but that's where San Francisco thrives, is in the middle of the field. I also think just coming off of this juggernaut schedule that the Eagles are going through, an absolute gauntlet, they are due for a letdown spot in one of these games. And I said it before we started recording, but as an Eagles fan, I'm almost okay with them dropping one of these next two, because going into the playoffs through this gauntlet and just running through it, I think has them, it puts a different mindset in a team. On top of that, Philly's been one of the league's luckiest teams this year. They're 7-1 in one-score games. 5 of those wins coming against teams who are 500 or worse. They've been outgained by at least 98 yards in 4 straight games, including being outgained by 128 yards by the Bills. So yeah, I just think it's a really bad spot for the Eagles, even though they're at home. I think it's a bad matchup right now, given Lane Johnson's health. And I think the 49ers come out with a win. And, you getting them under a field goal, could very well see it just being a field goal, but win's a win, cover's a cover.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it more. I think the biggest thing about this is the spot that the Eagles are in this week. It has nothing to do. If this was a conference championship and the Eagles were at home, the Eagles would be close to a field goal. This would be the complete reverse spread. It would be Eagles minus 2.5. That would be the spread. But it's the spot the Eagles are in after facing the Chiefs, and their defense was on the field for a crazy amount of snaps. The 49ers, remember, they're coming off of an extended rest playing on Thanksgiving, and they played in overtime. It's an awful matchup for the Eagles. The Eagles, when they were looking at this, they saw the Chiefs, Bills. They wanted to see what they could do against these AFC teams. They know they can beat the 49ers. They did it last year. They're not worried about them at all. They're looking forward to the Cowboys and game planning for that. They're chalking this one up as a loss. They'll play it, see how they do, but it's just the spot the Eagles are in. That's why the 49ers are probably the better pick here.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously have been missing Dallas Goedert too, but this week on the injury report, you see AJ Brown, Slim Reaper, and DeAndre Swift. And I guess you could throw Julio Jones in there too, but pretty much all their offensive weapons are nursing something, right?
Like they just played.
It's just been going through the gauntlet. So I don't know. Just we're agreeing, PP. So we don't need to.
I know, but it'll be funny because the 49ers probably win this game, and then everyone's going to be riding the 49ers, and you're going to get an incredible betting opportunity if we can get a rematch of these teams in the playoffs, and the Eagles are like, if it's like a pick 'em or something, absolutely hammer the Eagles. The 49ers stand no chance come that time.
Okay. Well, game's got to be played out for a reason. So we'll see. I mean, I if I was picking a side, I think I'd also take the Niners. I've liked the Niners. I mean, I like both teams, but like what everything just discussed. But I will wrap everything up here. Going with my San Diego, just kidding, the Los Angeles Chargers going on the road to play the New England Patriots here. I mean, the Chargers, I don't know how Brandon Staley still has a job. He must have some blackmail on the owner because he probably should have been fired last week. I understand the Chargers, again, going through a plethora of injuries on that team. I saw a stat. Brandon Staley, since they drafted Justin Herbert, they're 30-30. They have scored 1,506 points, and they have given up 1,507 points. Like, talk about the most mediocre team that should not be mediocre. On paper, they have talent on all sides of the ball, and there's just a piece missing, or a piece that's out of place, and it's definitely Brandon Staley. But I am taking the Chargers here -6 against the Patriots, who are just,
it's bad.
You know what? It brings me joy to see how bad the Patriots are. Every day I wake up with a smile on my face, knowing that everyone in Boston is just like, what is this? And they get to feel what it feels like to be 95% of the rest of us NFL fans. They finally have just a terrible quarterback, a terrible team. Bill Belichick just looks grumpier and grumpier every time he goes out on the field. So yeah, I mean, I just purely off that, I think the Chargers win this game. The Patriots are 1-7 ATS in the last 8. I'm not saying the Chargers are much better against the spread in the last 7 games. They're 2-5, but just Patriots, they don't have it. They just don't have it anymore. Mac Jones is probably going to be moving on. Bailey Zappi is terrible.
Did you see his most recent interview? That guy's so beaten down.
Yeah, I mean,
he's just zero confidence. Poor Mac Jones.
No, poor Mac Jones. He's a scumbag too. He's a dirty player. Screw him. But yeah, and your last meaningless stat of the day, the New England Patriots are 2-9 ATS in the last 11 games against an opponent in the AFC. So I'll be taking that as well.
They lost pretty much all their. They might have lost their top 5 best players this year too. I mean, Kendrick Bourne, Judon, Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's been awful for them.
So, I mean, it's been tough sledding for them. They just have no, like, obviously Mac Jones isn't good and Ramondre, isn't playing at an elite level anymore. Zeke's not helping, but like, they're banking on Demario Douglas as their wide receiver 1, and they're wondering why they have 2 wins. Like, it's like, why even go sign Juju?
Yeah, I mean, it's all. I've been
It's-
thinking that the Patriots have been there's tanking. I mean, there's rumors about Belichick going to coaching their team, but I don't know. I feel like they're in the running to get Caleb Williams here.
If they have the number 2 pick and the Bears are sitting at number 1,
Yeah,
You could
the
get 'em.
Patriots could go right
that's a
from
nice trade.
Tom Brady
Yeah.
to Caleb Williams after I don't know how many years Tom Brady's been gone from the Patriots, but it's not been that long, and have another just insane quarterback.
Oh, insane quarterback to some place. All right, let's end the show. There we go.
A Hall of Fame quarterback. It would be crazy if that happened.
God, you're so dumb.
Yeah. All right.
Tank for Caleb.
Tank for Caleb. That's what all teams should be doing that don't have a quarterback. All right. That'll do it for this episode. We'll be back for our DFS show. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.